Hi, this is Jose Stevens from the Power Path, and today I'm going to tell you the story of the 10,000 demons. This is a Buddhist story, a Tibetan Buddhist story. And remember that the Tibetan Buddhists were practitioners of Bön, a shamanic tradition in the Himalayas. And when Buddhism came along, they adopted Buddhism, but they didn't let go of their Bön tradition. So this story has shamanic aspects as well as Buddhist aspects. So the way the story is usually told, there was a monastery in the Himalayas, and there was a large building, a temple, but it had no windows, and it only had two doors, one door in the front and one door in the very back. And the new novices would come and look at the building with dis-ease, and they would think, whoa, I wonder what's in that building. It's kind of scary looking. And one would whisper to the other, I hear that it's the temple of 10,000 demons. Once a year, the new novice monks would be lined up by the older lamas on a special day. And they would be lined up in front of the temple of 10,000 demons. And it would be explained to them that they would be put in they would open the door and they would put one at a time. Each one of them would enter the temple of 10,000 demons. And they would be put in there and the door would be slammed shut, and they would have to find their way to the other end where there was a door and they could come out. And they were warned that many monks of the past never came out the other side. So this really terrified the young monks, and they were all standing there shaking and very concerned. And so the head lama said, okay, it's time to begin. So he opened the door to the 10,000 demons, dragged the first monk, novice monk, over to it and thrust him in, slammed the door behind him, and all the monks heard screams and dragging chains and gnashing of teeth and wild, crazy music, and there was all kinds of sounds, but it was a cacophony, and it was kind of scary. And they waited and they waited and they waited, but the first young monk never appeared from the door on the opposite side. So the lama said, well, I guess he's lost in there, so next one. And so the next monk was terrified. Teeth were chattering and he was shaking in his boots, and the lama opened the door to the temple of 10,000 demons and shoved him in and slammed the door shut behind him. And once again, there was this horrible cacophony of sounds, things being dragged and screams and moans and weird, creepy music and bells chiming and all kinds of things. And they waited and they waited and they waited. And the second monk didn't come out the other end. So now the remaining novice monks were terrified. And the next one up, he fell down on his knees and he said, please, please give me one hint. Tell me anything that will help me to get through the temple of 10,000 demons. So the head lama had pity on him and he said, okay, I can tell you one thing. Never take your eyes off the door at the opposite end of the temple. And don't get distracted. Never take your eyes off it. So he opened the door, shoved him in, slammed the door shut behind him. Once again, there was this cacophony of sounds, horrible things. Everybody just was terrified that maybe the novice monk would not come out the other side. But in a little while, here came the third novice monk, and he had made it to the other side. He had opened the door, and he had escaped the temple of 10,000 demons. So it's not hard to figure out that the temple of 10,000 demons is our lives on the physical plane. It has everything in it, all kinds of distractions. And the door on the other side of the temple is liberation. It's the discovering spirit. It's finding enlightenment, it's waking up, it's all those things. And so we all pass through the temple of 10,000 demons, and sometimes we get lost in there and are lost for many, many lifetimes. And eventually, though, the good news is that everyone, at some point in time, exits the door on the far end and escapes the temple of 10,000 demons. So stay tuned for part 2.